The Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, sometimes more simply billed as the Bonzo Dog Band, are a British, are or were not sure, British somewhat comedy music band with many styles but rooted in 1920s vaudeville jazz and skiffle. They've had many members, lots of stopping and starting. A couple of the particularly prominent members are Viv Stanshall, who was also the master of ceremonies on the Tubular Bells album by Mike Oldfield, and Neil Innes, who wrote songs for Monty Python and was particularly well known for that. They also had a member uh, at least one point with the name Vernon Dudley, which just reminds me of Vernon and Dudley Dursley of the Harry Potter world. So I wonder if that's where J.K. Rowling got the name from. They worked in their early years as a house band for a TV show called Do Not Adjust Your Set. And that's how they basically got their first major exposure. Despite massive turmoil as a band, I have to say the Wikipedia page for this is for them is long, but is worth reading because it's surprisingly well written for a Wikipedia page and kind of has a little bit of a sense of humour to it. But despite all this turmoil, they have managed to release 6 albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was possibly the third album by the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. I think they were called the Bonzo Dog Band officially at this point. So this review is all right. Let's talk about the rest of the channel. Most of the reviews on this channel are of a list of the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to a website called Acclaim Music, who have put together the list by amalgamating a load of other lists and critic lists. It's a kind of more longitudinal version of Metacritic, which is a really great project, which is why I've chosen to review them. I'm just a little bit over a quarter of the way through that mammoth task of reviewing all 3,000. But occasionally I step off, and I've got a few reasons to step off. That kind of things that I've picked myself for reviewing. One of them is things that I think aren't very well known at all, which is I call them hidden gems. One of them is things that I think are well known but really should be on the list of the 3,000 greatest albums of all time. I call them criminally missing. And then there's the ones in between, which are ones that are somewhat known, but possibly not well, and maybe particularly British focused like this one is. So this is one of those. I call them Dan's picks. Okay. Having done the context, let's actually start talking about the album. So mostly this is a collection of songs that they created as part of their residence with the TV show Do Not Adjust Your Set, which they were doing in the 60s. A couple of things that I need to say here. Firstly is that there is some of the humour here that is, in some terms, outdated. And particularly, this is the use of fake accents of people from other countries is mild accent abuse, I would say. I don't know if this would class as racism, but I don't think it actually gives any prejudice as part of it. It just kind of stereotypes. The second thing I wanted to throw in here is that this is entirely coincidental that the timing is that I'm reviewing this right after having reviewed an album by The Residents, who are an American band who did absurdist humour stuff. But The Residents are far more extreme than this. Some of this has got the same kind of absurd sense of humour to it, and occasionally actually has bits of deliberate bad playing, although mostly the playing is pretty good in here. I would say if you want a kind of a stylistic overview, I mean, there's lots of different styles going on, but the kind of feel, the general kind of attitude is very much like Monty Python, or possibly if you know about who the goodies were, it has a kind of feeling of that, and it's got that kind of sense of humour to it. And in fact, there's no surprise here because that TV show I mentioned before, Do Not Adjust Your Set, featured some of the people. This was pre-Monty Python, and it featured some of the people who became parts of Monty Python. And the kind of connection between the two is Neil Innes, who was part of the Bonzo Dog Band at this point. Stylistically, it's a bit of a pastiche. There's different styles. There's trad jazz in Dr. Jazz. There's doo-wop in the Monster Mash, which is a cover of a great song. There's Rock with Mr. Apollo. There's Skiffle with the Urban Spaceman, which is probably the best known track by the Bonzo Dog Band. And there's even goes to the extent of having a skit, which is more of a kind of comedy sketch of asking questions of people on the streets, kind of interviewing the members on the street about shirts. They differ in sound quality, and there's different levels of polish to them. It feels kind of piecemeal putting it together, but it's it's got a delightfulness to it. It's just absurd humor, but silly and funny, and it's not even, I wouldn't say, observed humor. It's just about, there's a song about Alibaba and his camel, and there's, the Monster Mash. There's also a song about shirts that follows the thing about shirts. There's lots of silliness in here. And it's very much of its time, this kind of humor, but it's the kind of humor that I respond well to. So it's my kind of comedy. I like the music. It's light relief. And basically, it's fun. So I like it. And as always, I'd love to know if you know this album, what you think of it. And if you don't know this album, have a listen and then let me know what you think of it by leaving me a comment, please. Thank you. And that's it from me for now.